Hi.
Today is Friday, and you're sitting down with the Byerlys during their afternoon coffee time.
Look at this beautiful. That is quite amazing. Yours is not as interesting. Yours is just a white. Sorry, I should have done something more creative. But no construction is happening today, so we wanted to take the time to talk a little about language and English events, which is one of the things we really want to do at our coffee shop, and just explain kind of the importance of language.
In conjunction with our specialty coffee idea that we wanted to incorporate as a part of the project, we know from experience here that Spaniards love to look for opportunities to practice their English. They're about, I could say a number of years, but I wouldn't be probably correct, but I would say in our lifetime, Em and I are in our mid-30s, and probably the people our age, Spaniards our age, grew up, a lot of them, in education systems that were at one point, one or multiple subjects were in English, completely in English. And
at least bilingual.
Or at least bilingual, yeah. So they have taken English courses, a lot of jobs here. Like if you're going to get a government position job, you have to have a certain level of English. It's just looked at as a very highly favored qualification to put you above the rest. So whenever we interact with our neighbors and moved into this neighborhood, and people learned that we were from the U.S. or that we're native English speakers, they were very excited because they were looking for opportunities, I think, deep down to practice their English with us. And so that's how a lot of times we make initial friendships, because people are interested in practicing their English with us, maybe on a walk, maybe on one-on-one classes, etc. Or maybe an interchange of we practice our Spanish, they practice their English. So that is a very high demand of service that we as Americans or as English speakers can offer when we come into Spain.
When I think of the really great opportunities with learning a language, I think a lot of people think of learning language as kind of being able to go somewhere and have an adventure, or maybe write something on your resume. But one thing we've noticed is that just the power of learning a language and how it just opens doors into cultures and open doors into conversations. I was watching a YouTube video of a guy learning these little minor languages of Africa, or learning some Southeast Asian languages, and going into shops like in New York City and places, and he's just a white Caucasian guy like me, and he would start speaking this language, and just to see the change in people's attitudes, how much they open up, how much they're encouraged, how much it means so much to someone that you would learn their language. That's why we love learning Spanish, because it's more than just, a set of rules and everything. It's learning a little bit about who someone is. Emily had a good experience in Paris. You want to tell me a little bit about your Paris experience?
So my mom, one of the things that was on her bucket list, and was a pro of having a daughter that lives in Europe, is that they would come. Before COVID, they were pretty consistently coming every other year. And one year we went to Paris with them because that was where she wanted to go. And I did Duolingo, which I know is very popular and very well known as a language learning tool. So I did Duolingo barely for French, and I just did some basic French probably for like a month or so. I did not get very far because growing up in the South, I feel like you have a disadvantage learning languages sometimes because your accent is so strong. Obviously, if you're watching this video, you know our Spanish accents. Our Southern accents are really coming out, probably, especially mine. Anyway, I really wanted to learn just basic conversational French, as far as hello.
Conversational? Yeah.
No. Actually, let's scratch that. Phrasal French, so that I could say hello, thank you, order a coffee in French.
Everyone had told us that French, especially Parisians, were super rude. Spanish people had told us that. American people that had visited were like, oh yeah, they were just super rude and this. So we were like, you know what? Let's try to understand and speak as much as we can You know, my 3rd grade level of French did not
Adam
come
can
back
count in French really well.
like I had hoped. But I think we were just shocked by it. We went there in Paris and just tried, you know, respectfully, you know, in our terrible accent of the French language, probably butchering it, but just saying hello or being able to order one thing and saying thank you or good morning. And everyone that we interacted with and just tried to speak, as soon as we started just attempting to speak that language, was so encouraging and was like, oh wow, you know, that's not bad. You maybe even correcting us, but in a very like not rude at all. And I think that amazed us. And we noticed the same thing when it came to Spain. As soon as people found out we weren't just blasting our own native language and expecting them to understand, but actually took the time and took the energy to understand this deep part of their culture, it really meant a lot.
The opportunity of offering an English cafe, meaning we are offering English environment in our coffee shop, is that we're not trying to exclude people. That's the one thing that we are having to walk carefully, because while we want to be an English coffee shop, we don't want people in our neighborhood to walk by and think, I can't go in there because I don't have a good level of English, and so they're not going to understand me. So we're really trying to advertise as an English coffee shop because it's a very distinct type of coffee shop that they probably couldn't get anywhere else. I mean, maybe in Madrid you might find a coffee shop that has, you know, English, Spanish, a lot of English speakers. But here in Alcalá, we're a small town, a good-sized town, but we're going to be a novelty. But we don't want that to be a dividing factor either, because we want people to feel like they could come in and ask us in Spanish exactly what their order is and not know a lick of English, but we will be able to communicate with them. So we're going to try to do that with maybe some bilingual things or a lot of stuff. As you probably have seen, our website is entirely in Spanish because we want to be showing that we want to be a part of the Spanish community, but at the same time we are going to have a lot of like conversational stuff in English, obviously, and like signs and phrases. Like Adam had an idea, like we really want to try to incorporate like having, if it's something that we take away, like a phrasal verb, or meaning like a verb that
how to order something. But they're always looking for ways, like creative ways to make their English better, but also to not be something in which someone that walks in that has no English, has no idea what to order, and they're going to say, I don't think I'd be accepted there. I think that's what we're trying to avoid, is that we're a place where, regardless of your language level or how much English you've had in your, or you may be super embarrassed by your English, we don't want people to use that. We don't want the coffee shop to be something that's a dividing factor for that. So we want to be inclusive in the language, but we also don't want to be exclusive in just because we're an English coffee shop. It's important to know too that we don't think like English is the best language. It's not that we're saying, you know, learn our language. It's really just the idea that this is the other language we know, and we want to help people in that way. We feel like it's just important for people to come into the coffee shop if they're American and try to learn Spanish, as it is for Spanish people to come in and try to learn English. Yeah. If we knew Mandarin, you know, maybe we would have a Mandarin specialty coffee shop, but I think that's just really important. And using language as kind of the first bridge that connects two cultures together. We think it's really, really important to be able to sit down, have a conversation. I don't know how many times in my life, if I'm around people that are speaking a language I don't understand, one of the first things you feel is either they're talking about me or they're saying something about me. Emily's mom had a story where Emily was talking to a neighbor and talking about the dog and going, no, the dog's always barking. And her mom thought that they were talking about her. And they're saying, your mom is always, you know, blah, 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 blah. But that's how you feel when you don't understand a language. Your automatic response is,
it makes you feel uncomfortable.
Something's going on, or they're making fun of me. Whereas if you can start to understand a language, not only do you understand just the topic and the conversation, but you understand a little bit of that culture as well.
Yeah, so I think we want to provide an enclave of a coffee shop experience where you can come in, practice your languages, if that's English, if that's, maybe people are going to be learning German and French in our cafe, and that would be great. We're going to know very little of what they're talking about, but I think we want to just create a spot where people can use language as a starting point, like Adam said, to create some really good quality conversations. And if it's just starting the conversation in very basics, then that's a great place to start. So we want to create that environment where people can come in, practice their language. We can practice ours more. I mean, we're going to be really immersed in Spanish, and so we're hoping that even our Spanish language, even being here for so many years, will really take off to be able to integrate more in understanding the Spanish culture even more, which we're learning a ton through the construction process, but also to be able to understand our neighbors better and our neighbors' scenarios and how we can come alongside them and really encourage them and really challenge them as well. So that's our goal with Bria Cafe in our neighborhood.
And coffee's the starting place.
Yeah.
Coffee is what starts the conversation. And the conversation leads to culture.
Mm-hmm.
And then understanding cultures leads to a community. And that's what we want to do. Thanks for joining us.
And have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.